It is my great honor to walk you through some of just a very, very small piece of what has happened in the last 2 years with regards to our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. So I recognize that probably a quarter, if not a third of us weren't actually here at the beginning of the planning process. That's the nature of the university community. So I'm going to give you a very, very, very brief overview. We have not a single plan, but actually 52 different plans. There's a university level plan, which is similar to what most universities have. But of course, because we're Michigan, we couldn't stop there. We actually also have 51 unit level plans. And those 51 unit level plans were based on the idea that experiencing the University of Michigan looks very different if you're in the School of Nursing versus the College of Engineering versus part of the transportation staff. And so we wanted to have plans that represented that diversity of experiences at the university. Each of the plans addressed issues related to climate, issues related to diversifying our community, as well as issues related to our scholarship and teaching. We wanted to make sure that our plans recognize the fact that we have historically been doing this work, so we provided support for foundational programs that were already here, as well as develop new infrastructure to help organize and make our plans most efficient and most effective. And last but not least, we wanted to make sure that we took an approach that was empirically based, that allowed us to measure our success as well as areas that we need to improve. And the last piece was to be as visible as possible in terms of reporting the findings for the plan. Just so you know, there are 37 central university action items that were proposed for the first 2 years of the plan, and over 2,100 action items that were proposed across the 51 unit plans. And I plan to go through each and every one through great deep, well, no, actually. Of those 37 central plan items, all 100 have been engaged, including 95% being implemented already. 92% of the more than 2,100 unit level plans have been activated, with 56% of those having been fully implemented. Our DEI goals, as I mentioned earlier, we have 3 specific ones. One is to recruit, retain, and develop a diverse community of students, staff, and faculty, which I think of as our people goal. The second goal is to promote a more equitable and inclusive climate, which is really to improve the processes by which we interact. And the third is to infuse diversity, equity, and inclusion into our teaching, scholarship, and service activities. In other words, the main products of the University of Michigan. So today, instead of going through every single initiative, I'm going to go through each of the major goals and just highlight one specific initiative. So with regards to our people initiative, our recruitment, retaining, and developing a more diverse community, we have a number of programs that have been put in place, including our Native American Student Initiative out of the Office of Admissions, efforts to recruit faculty with commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion, for example, the LS&A Collegiate Fellowships Program. But the program that I'm going to highlight today is the Wolverine Pathways Program that President Schlissel had mentioned earlier. And just to give you a sense of who our wonderful Wolverine Pathways students are.
For students who haven't heard about Wolverine Pathways, I would definitely tell them to reach out, come, apply. Definitely, it is an amazing opportunity.
I am a very fortunate parent. I have 2 children in the program. I have an 8th grader and a 10th grader. It has provided them with social awareness, what they need to do to be college ready.
They not only work with you on, your schoolwork that you have and, your own personal school, but they also teach you about, what it means to be a college student.
Wolverine Pathways has definitely changed the way I look at college. Like the higher ranked ones, like U of M and Arbor, I used to think that those were untouchable until now this program has actually made me realize that I can achieve it and I can even go and actually prepare to attend there. It does take practice, but they've definitely helped us on the discipline aspect, taking practice SAT tests and given us opportunities to even take it once for free. So yes, apply, and greater is always in store, so thank you.
Do we have any Wolverine Pathway students here? See, they're doing exactly what we want them to do. They're in class right now. As President Schlissel had mentioned, we have 733 Wolverine Pathway scholars currently enrolled. This year was the first year that they were eligible to come to the University of Michigan. So our first graduating class this past spring consisted of 88 Wolverine Pathway scholars. 80 of that 88, or 91% of those, are currently enrolled in a 4-year university. 45 of our Wolverine Pathway scholars are currently enrolled here at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. 15 more are at U of M Dearborn. So we have 68% of that first class here at the University of Michigan. Next, I want to talk about our second goal, which is to promote an inclusive and equitable climate. In other words, our product. And I want to focus on a lot of the efforts that we've done with regards to our DEI skill training for staff. And we will have Sonia Jacobs to talk a little bit about what that effort has looked like.
The DE&I initiative includes education and training resources. Those resources are provided out of the university HR in partnership with several entities across the university. The idea is to provide educational resources that help to improve the climate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as provide resources that are accessible to all faculty, staff, and units here on the campus. Our efforts will help us create an institution that's more innovative, dynamic, and inclusive for everyone. Our diversity and equity resources will also help us to build the capacity for everyone across the university, and enables us to partner with various units and schools to deliver diversity, education, and training. My hope is that each person who participates in our education and training resources will not only build skill, but they will also see a change in behavior and be much more aware of who we are, what we all bring, and create an environment that will foster some dialogue, healthy communications, and will enable us to really contribute to the mission of the university.
So this extensive investment is working in terms of gaining penetration throughout the university. So our Office of Organizational Learning has provided both unit based as well as general DEI professional development opportunities across 10 different curricula, including curricula on disability awareness, Change It Up, bystander interventions, unconscious bias processes. We've had over 702 courses offered with more than 17,000 participants in these courses. And these courses have touched 100% of the 51 administrative and academic units that make up the DEI strategic plan. Our third goal focuses on the products, the things that we as an institution of higher education are all about. Learning, scholarship, service to the larger public mission. And I want to talk a little bit today about the work that our Center for Research on Learning and Teaching has done with regards to providing professional development opportunities for our teachers, our faculty, our GSIs, our lecturers in the classroom with respect to inclusive teaching.
At CRLT, our mission is to partner with faculty and graduate student instructors and academic administrators to advance a teaching culture in which instructors and students of all backgrounds can succeed and excel. And so diversity and inclusive teaching has for a long time been central to our mission. The DE&I strategic planning process has enabled us to think as a whole team about how we can deepen our connections on campus around this topic and widen our reach.
What we're working to accomplish with our DE&I work is to help instructors across the disciplines increase their understanding of and skill with inclusive teaching. This includes understanding better who the students are in their classrooms and labs. It includes deliberately cultivating learning environments where students with really different backgrounds and perspectives can learn from one another and productively engage. And it includes, importantly, understanding and alleviating patterns of inequity that are often associated with student identities and can become barriers to learning.
So here are some ways that our diversity strategic planning process has really expanded our work here at CRLT and CRLT in engineering. First of all, we've always worked with schools and colleges, but now we have a Liaisons for Inclusive Teaching group, which represents leadership from all 19 schools and colleges, that we collaborate to think strategically about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've always had seminars, but now we have a 2-week session on the inclusive teaching at Michigan series held in May, which really provides a range of opportunities for instructors. We've always had consultations, but now we have a hotline where instructors can contact us when there's an emerging concern.
So our inclusive classroom teaching program, CRLT has worked with 10 schools and colleges to include inclusive teaching professional development opportunities on the onboarding of new faculty. They have also offered separate standalone workshops that are open to all faculty and GSIs, as well as delivered customized workshops and retreats to schools and colleges and departments specific to their particular needs. I'm happy to report that more than 1,100 GSIs and undergraduate instructor aides have also attended a continuing series on inclusive teaching at the all-campus and CEO GSI teaching orientation. So the work that we're doing to make the classroom a much improved, a much more effective space for all students is having, again, great traction within the university. Now I want to talk a little bit about, first, what's happening in the upcoming year, and then about our progress. So as President Schlissel mentioned, we are incorporating the sexual misconduct prevention campaign within the structure of DEI. There can be no better structure and a better fit than the goals of the sexual misconduct prevention campaign and the efforts that have already been undertaken with regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion. In both cases, we are trying to build a community to change the way in which we think, act, and treat each other. And in that, there is absolutely no place whatsoever for sexual harassment and gender harassment. We're also spending a great deal of our effort in this next year with an external evaluation of the DEI strategic planning process itself. We will be bringing in experts from around the country to evaluate the processes that we're undertaking. And last but not least, we are also involved in an internal assessment with regards to the progress at our unit level plan initiatives. So our DEI leads will be working to look at the initiatives that have been most effective and finding ways to double down and to scale up, and also looking for those things that have perhaps not been as effective and sunset so that we have the space, opportunity, and resources to bet on our winners. It is my great pleasure to lead this particular initiative. And from my particular space, I get an opportunity to see some things that most of us don't. One of the things that I can tell you from the bottom of my heart is that we still have a long way to go. But I can also tell you we have also made a great deal of progress in the past 3 years. We are not the same institution that we were when we started. We are a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community, and we will continue to work to be even more so. We will make sure that we continue to have programs like this to raise institutional awareness with regards to the DEI. We want to make sure that we have more initiatives that broaden access not only into the institution but throughout the institution. So we have programs that are focused specifically on professional development for staff and faculty who have a demonstrated commitment to diversity, as well as programs that provide staff opportunities in trades and other spaces that we otherwise wouldn't have had in the past. We are working very hard to build the skill level of each and every one of us. Being able to interact effectively, respectfully, and in a way that brings us all forward across our differences is not something that comes naturally. It is something that is a skill that needs to be practiced and developed, and we're continuing to find ways to do that. We're also making sure that we integrate DEI in our institutional processes and structures, including our annual review processes for staff, faculty, as well as in our budget process itself. And last but not least, we've included institutional norm reinforcers through things such as diversity, equity, and inclusion award programs for faculty and staff, as well as, again, programs like this where you have messages from the Board of Regents, the President, and the Provost reinforcing the importance of DEI. I can tell you the work that we've done has gone noticed throughout higher education. Many of my colleagues often ask, what are we doing and why are we so successful, and wondering how they can also engage in a similar process. This recognition is also occurring in terms of the media, believe it or not. I want to congratulate our DEI leads in particular for this particular award. The University of Michigan has just received the 2018 Higher Education and Excellence in Diversity Award from Insight to Diversity magazine. Give yourselves a hand for that particular effort. And now I want to move us along in today's program. It is my great honor to introduce the Deputy Chief Diversity Officer, Katrina Wade Golden, who in many ways is the secret sauce in all of the hard work that we've done. And she will move us forward in the program. Thank you very much. Oh, one more thing. Please recognize that what we've talked about today is a very, 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 one more very small sliver of all the wonderful work that's done. Please, I invite you and encourage you to read the report, which provides a larger sliver of all the great work that you have done. Thank you.